All right. Thanks for those who managed to come tonight. I know there's a storm and we all have things going on in our lives that prevent us, but I appreciate you all. It means very much to me that you could be here. And my ducky shirt. So if you don't know, I'm a writer. I do this sometimes, once every so often. This is my 7th book, my 3rd fiction, because I do a poetry kind of vibe too. But this one is definitely very different because it's sci-fi, it's horror, it's kind of Halloween meets aliens, it meets The Office, and that's what I always like to say. It's like there's, the beginning of the book kind of starts off kind of chill, and then you're like discovering there's 5 main characters, and that's what I'm going to talk about, but you discover like these people are really messed up, and it's really fun to find out, learn more about them. I was very excited about these characters. So I'm going to discuss the immersive exploration of themes centering around forgiveness, loss, and the journey towards making peace with the past, which is something I still working on with my own stuff. So I'll meet you there. Showcases the intricate narratives woven by our main characters, each grappling with their own demons and regrets. And the main set piece for this book is this pharmaceutical company called Pure Medicine. And I can picture, this huge hub of nurses and doctors just, storming, busy, like a busy restaurant on a Friday night, just always doing something. And I get ideas for books at the most random spot possible. I literally will be on a bus stop hearing people. I will just be here and I'll be inspired by the many great writers and performers that come to the tram. So, and it's just weird. It's just like, oh, that person's interesting. I'm going to go base off character off them. And they don't know. And they're probably be very creeped out with the fact that I'm doing this. So the main set piece is the pharmaceutical company, kind of like how the show Friends is centered around the cafe. If you've watched Friends, kind of that vibe. And as these characters and their paths intertwine, secrets unravel, alliances form, propelling the narrative towards a gripping climax. This book goes from 0 to 100 real quick. So the characters, I'll go start talking about the characters. Connor is the young CEO of Pure Medicine. He was thrust into the position of power a few years back. He was 23. He's 26, at the starting of the story. But because his parents were, the CEOs before, but they died, and so he's just inherited the business essentially, and he doesn't want to do it. He's just like, I guess I have to because carrying on the family legacy. And meanwhile, Connor is trying to resurrect his dead wife Rose because there was an unfortunate incident, and he's trying to form like alchemy, doing all this sci-fi fun stuff, trying to but it becomes a pure obsession where nothing's gonna stop him until he does it. So that's his character arc. There's like 5 main character arcs, and they all intertwine during the middle, and then it's a snowball down a mountain kind of thing. It is insane. I'm like, I hope people don't lock me up for this kind of stuff. He's attempting to remedy the situation, and it drives him to the brink of obsession, unveiling the depths of his fractured psyche. Connor is batshit crazy, and it's so interesting because I like watching documentaries. I like, learning. Serial killer stuff is interesting. How does the brain operate? Like, what makes people turn this way? I grew up in a very abusive household. I could have killed someone, I'm sure, if I was, had a different brain. But, it's just interesting because people go through similar situations, and what comes out of that? Like, how do you not turn out like that? How do you heal? What support systems you have? So I think that's very interesting to think about. Don't worry, I'm not a killer. I just write about them. And so another character is Morgan. Morgan is kind of like this very young genius type vibe. She's only 20 years old, and she's, you know, has this lifetime ahead of her of success that she's going to do. But unfortunately, so she was head of the androids department of this Pure Medicine pharmaceutical company. Unfortunately, when she was doing some rewiring on an android, that, you know, obviously AI one day is going to kill us all. Let's just face it. So the android, you know, came to life and kind of killed 2 interns, and it's all on, you know, Morgan takes so much responsibility because she was the one operating the android that killed the 2 interns. And so her character arc is just, you know, the consequences and tackling the PTSD, you know, following the android malfunctioning incident. She steps down and, you know, she didn't get a sentencing. She didn't, which that's like a stark divide, is like, should have she gotten like prison time, or was it just a freak accident? So there's that like kind of, you know, you get to make up your own mind about that. But there's an interesting part that adds to it is when she's doing secretary work, because that's all Morgan wants to do at this moment, is she wants to work her way up maybe back to being head of the android department, but she's not there yet. So, but the mother of one of the interns comes in at some point and is like, what are you doing here? And it's so interesting to hear both sides of the situation, because, you know, the mother is like, you got my daughter killed, and Morgan's like, I didn't mean to, and, you know, it was a freak accident. And it's interesting to tell both sides of the incident. And Nancy is kind of like the work mom. Every job has a work mom, you can't deny that. And Nancy is, you know, 50 years old, has a bob cut, very formal brown kind of vibe. And but her story gets more interesting about the later half, because she's definitely a catalyst and she's kind of trying to figure out the mysteries of all that. But she's fiercely independent, and now she's kind of contemplating the roads not taken as she navigates the aftermath of her husband's passing a few years back. She's yearning for a life behind her executive role. So she's kind of like below the CEO. She's definitely under, which is ironic because Nancy probably would have been the most appropriate person to take over the company. But because, you know, blood relative Connor did, and it's kind of like there's a little bit of envy there between that. They kind of have like, they butt heads a lot, Nancy and Connor. So Nancy definitely should have been the CEO, but because it's a family business, keeping it a family kind of vibe. But she's realizing that she doesn't really want this executive title anyway. She had a friend named Pam, who they could have been like Thelma and Louise in a way. I don't they were very much carefree when they were younger in their college years, and there was a choice made. Pam went to go live in like an RV type vibe and just live on the road, and Nancy decided to live the traditional life of being married, having kids, white picket fences, you know, which some people are very happy with, but she doesn't regret having children, obviously, but she always has this what if, and her trying to deal with like, you know, what if? We always wonder what we could have done differently. So her trying to cope with that while she gets some messages of what Connor's really doing behind the scenes, because Connor takes on an intern to develop. So Connor, what a saga. He's literally getting so obsessed at this point where he's bringing people in. He's thinking, oh, I can bring my dead wife Rose back from the dead with the likeness of an android, you know, create a genetically engineered blood type, you know, and just, he's willing to do anything to bring his, and it's not cute at this point. It's deadly. It's, you know, and so I'm leaving breadcrumbs, little details of what's going on in the story, and, you know, reading it, you're gonna be like, can you tell me more? And I told Beth, I'm like, just wait, hold your horses. I want it to be a little vague, and then when you find out the truth, it's like, oh shit. So it's worth it. I'm very happy with how I actually wrote the ending first. And I wrote the final 3 chapters first because I could just picture where this was all ending up. And I just thought that was very interesting to mention, how I was like, let's write the ending before the first chapter. And just, it's kind of, I did it in reverse, and that was so much fun, just trying to like put the puzzles together. And so Clark, I love the name Clark. I always wanted to put the name Clark in a book somewhere, and I'm so glad I found a character that matches his personality. Clark would fit very well in at the tram. He has green hair, and he's very sarcastic, very weird, and very awesome, very eclectic. But he's more of like a chemist kind of vibe. He's developing an instant relief kind of psych medicine with Dr. Susan Ramada, and they can, we're hoping to help with many different personality disorders. He's conducting this and having people come in to be kind of like a test subject, which is very risky because obviously it's a new medicine. You don't know what it's going to do. You could, some of these, we've all seen those commercials, like the antidepressants, but they could make you suicidal also. So it's just kind of like, they bring in this woman named Christine Geyer, who is a successful author, has nothing to do with the company, and, they're hoping she would be an ambassador, to get this medication more known and, raise the publicity for the pharmaceutical company, which has been getting some bad press lately because Connor is not following his duties. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. Connor is just kind of being MIA and just literally closing the blinds in the office while he works with this intern trying to bring Rose back. And then, this isn't a spoiler. It's pretty obviously well spoken in the beginning that Android thing isn't going to work out. So he decides, and this is in the future, this is like 2040, that he has to find someone with a matching blood type as Rose's dead wife in order to transfer her soul into them. And Christine Geyer, the successful author, is the only matching blood type because they both had genetically engineered blood, which is a thing in this world. Just roll with it, okay? So Connor decides, let's go after this huge successful author, and he will benefit off that. I mean, if it's successful, she has fame, she has success, they'll be fine financially. Screw it. So Connor is just on this hunt for this successful author while she's coming to the pharmaceutical company to do these therapy sessions, and he's just trying to get a hold of her and trying to manipulate. It's so wild. It's like writing it was like I was on the tip of my toes. So and Christine Geyer obviously has her own personal stuff going on. She's a successful author, but she's at a crossroads as she confronts her past mistakes as a parent. She realizes she could have done a lot better. She was a little neglectful, but she embraces the opportunity for growth, serving as a beacon of resilience amidst adversity. And so she becomes an ambassador and spokesperson for the medication. And it's such an interesting time because there's a point in the book where there's like this showcase, there's this event of public speaking of many different small hospitals, and I promise it sounds more interesting than that. It's because it's so much, it's thrillery, but also like, ooh, there's tea, there's drama going on, and there's a little bit of everything for everyone. And I think with all these characters, there's something for everyone. You can see yourself in any, like, one of these characters you can resonate with because they're all going through their own personal struggles. And as the story unfolds, the evolution of Clark and Susan's groundbreaking medication offers hope to those grappling with the inner turmoil as they navigate through the complexities of human psychology. And I truly love the relationship Clark and Christine have, because Christine is kind of very cold, very brittle, very, standoffish in the beginning, and, throughout the, course, you find out like they could have been family in another life kind of vibe. It's really sweet to see how with kindness. Some people aren't used to kindness. Some people are used to just being battered and bruised emotionally. So seeing her open up, I'm talking like she's a real person because I could picture them. Like, they're real people in my mind. My favorite author is Jodi Picoult, and she wrote My Sister's Keeper, if you're familiar with that. So good. And she says, I don't know if this is offensive, she said writing is like successful schizophrenia. And I really kind of like that. You get paid to hear voices, and I'm literally like, when I write books, it's like I'm playing a film reel. I could see these scenes play out. So it's really fun how the story is pushed along with all these storylines intersecting, impacting one way or another. And Connor's desire for his wife to return and he goes headfirst into obsession while he has to be the face of this pharmaceutical company. And so, there's a lot of tense moments. So like, this sounds like, like it's kind of chill, but it plays off like very much like a thriller kind of vibe, a kind of like a whodunit kind of thing. And it's so interesting as I'm getting tense just thinking about it. Like, I could picture this like as a classic thriller. Like, you watch every Halloween, this tension grows as Connor grapples with his personal vendetta. Amidst the responsibility of the corporate leadership, alliances are tested and questioned, loyalties are questioned, culminating in a crescendo of suspense and a revelation. It's going to leave you at the edge of your seat, because I feel like every question is answered in the last couple chapters. I feel like all these questions, you're like, what's going on? Is he ever going to get back to that? I do. I don't love leaving loose ends. I like to keep it a little open-ended, but definitely to the point where I promise this ending is fucking wild. And I was like, this is the first thing I wrote. And so, but yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say is I believe that this is everything I ever wanted it to be. It's a seamless blend of sci-fi intrigue. So if you're kind of a little bit nerdy, you'll definitely like it. And if you love horror, if you like both, this is definitely the book, start to finish. And I'm going to read a little bit of a review that Sheena, I'm sorry, Sheena, I'm going to butcher your name. I know you're not here. Sheena Fabilita. She wrote, we're going to go with it. She said that from start to finish, the book offers a poignant reflection of the human condition and the enduring quest for redemption. I hope that, So from start to finish, it offers a poignant reflection of the human condition and the enduring quest for redemption, where every page promises a new revelation, every character holds a key to unlocking the mysteries of forgiveness and resilience. And I think that really definitely encapsulates what the book is really about. I think it's just this insane story of forgiveness and what makes a person good and what is life all about, and live with no regrets, because what if is definitely my least favorite 2 words. Wondering what could happen and what, I think just go with your gut. And yeah, so I guess that's what I gotta say. I hope you enjoy it, those who haven't read it yet, because it's definitely a whirlwind, and I have a lot more coming. So, yay! I don't know if anyone has any questions. If you do, feel free, throw them my way.
I got a question.
What's your question? Okay.
How long did it take to write?
First draft. So when I write books, I literally will not stop until it's done. So it's very manic, like 10 hours, like a 10-hour shift. So the first draft, about a month, and then 10 months of revising and editing. And it's literally, the first draft is the easy part. Some people ask me, how do I get into this? And I'm like, just know your first draft is never going to be your last because you have a lot to do. So yeah. Okay.
Okay, another question. You seem so wrapped up in these characters.
I do.
You put so much into them. Did you leave it open so that you can continue the story, you think, or is that a possibility?
That is. a survivor is going to be in a new book. That's all I'm gonna say. So, and I'm very excited about their story because they're my favorite characters. So of course they had to survive. But I'm not saying who, but it's so exciting because it's like, I don't wanna, like, I thought about killing this person. But I was like, but I like them too much. Well, like, I remember watching Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead and, you know, those kind of shows. They're just like, oh, you like this character, huh? Well, that sucks. They're dead. Yeah, they're gone. And I just, yeah, so definitely love revisiting characters. Like, I have, like, only for me and, like I have this book called The Lost Library, and I have, like, and at the end of that book, they kind of, you know, this isn't a spoiler, it's just a cute little thing I did, promise, not a spoiler. They open a rehabilitation kind of center, and another book that I'm going to release, the main character goes to that, and so they're, like, slightly name dropped. I kind of have fun with, like, kind of, like, world building. I don't know if that makes sense, but I love revisiting characters, so. Yeah. I don't know. Anyone else? It's okay.
I can't wait to read it. Sounds like it's right.
Oh my god, I'm very passionate. Like, this is what I love to do more than anything. So, yeah. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening to me go off about geeky stuff for a long time. But yeah, thank you.